With great honor, I now invite our Honorable Speaker of today's Youth Parliament to assume the chair and conduct the proceedings of the House.
Members, please have your seats. Morning, honorable members. I welcome you all to the Youth Parliament of our school. Today, we have gathered not just in this auditorium. We have gathered in the heartbeat of democracy, where words become action and the youth becomes leader. Honorable members, today we gather not just to discuss on important bills and debates. We have gathered to discuss the future. They say the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. But in this house, we are the leaders of today, shaping tomorrow with every debate. Today, the agenda of the house is the discussion of Student Mental Acting Bill 2025. I want you all to speak from the bottom of the heart. Let us ask hard questions. As a speaker, it is my duty to ensure that this space is the one where every voice is heard, valued and respected. With that, I declare the first session of our youth parliament over. माननीय संसदगण, मुझे सदन को यह अवगत कराते हुए अत्यंत हर्ष हो रहा है कि हाल ही में आयोजित एशियाई खेलों में भारतीय पुरुष हॉकी टीम ने उल्लेखनीय प्रदर्शन करते हुए स्वर्ण पदक लाकर भारत का गौरव अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर बढ़ाया है। सदन की ओर से पूरी हॉकी टीम को बधाई देता हूं और उनके उज्जवल भविष्य की कामना करता हूं। Now we will begin with the question hour. All the members should adhere to the time limit so that each and every member can raise their voice and question. And now I request Honorable LOP to have the floor.
Honorable Speaker and respected members of the House, I want to raise a question to our Honorable Prime Minister. Despite being the world's largest democracy, why cases of vote writing are rising? Why has the government failed to protect the democracy of India, and why is it not stopping the electoral malpractices?
Honorable Prime Minister.
Honorable Speaker and respected members of the House, I find it deeply ironic that the opposition dare to question the fairness of elections in the world's largest democracy. Let me remind them, questioning election is not questioning government, it's insulting the people of India who cast their scared votes. ये सवाल करना कि इस देश में वोट चोरी होती है हमसे पूछा गया सिर्फ एक सवाल नहीं है, ये इस देश की जनता का अपमान करना है और ये सरकार ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं करेगी। Yes, stray cases of malpractice exist, but it was our government that ended the era of vote capturing, muscle power and ballot by introducing EVMs, VVPAT, CCTV monitoring, paramilitary deployment and real-time election commission apps for complaints. Today, even one irregular vote is immediately cancelled and repolled. Under our government, malpractice is no longer a culture, it is a crime. And now, the Speaker, let me expose the hypocrisy of the opposition. The very party that imposed the 1975 emergency, suspended fundamental rights, jailed opposition leaders, censored the press and postponed elections. Today, wants to give the lecture us on democracy. In those last 21 months, democracy was not rigged, it was murder. अरे सबको पता है कि 21 महीनों तक किस तरह से लोकतंत्र का गला घोटा गया था।
Prime Minister, please conclude. Please conclude.
So, the truth is simple. Election in India is free and fair, transparent. If the opposition still cries foul, it's not because elections are rigged, it's because the people are no longer voting for them. अरे ये सवाल करना कि इस देश में वोट चोरी हो रही है, ये सही नहीं है। अरे जब इन्हें वोट ही कोई नहीं देना चाहता, इस देश की जनता इनका बहिष्कार करती है, इन्हें पसंद नहीं करती है, तो इन्हें वोट नहीं मिलते हैं और जब इन्हें वोट नहीं मिलते हैं, तो ये रोते हैं कि वोट चोरी होती है। जवाब है उसके बाद
Isn't education equally critical for national security and economic growth?
Honorable Education Minister, please conclude the cabinet.
Honorable Speaker, we are taking concrete measures to make sure that we increase our research and development expenditure on higher education in the future. We are making schemes like Imprint and Spark, Digital India initiatives, and on top of that, NRF set up ₹50,000 crores allocation to boost university research and development. We are focusing on higher education right now.
Honorable Shadow Health Minister, please have the floor.
Honorable Speaker, around 60% of the India's population lives in rural areas, but the schemes launched by the central government are urban-centric. According to the new health policy of 2024, 7.7 of the total GDP should be given to health, but still 2.1 has been given. Till which year they will attain this goal? Or it will take decades and decades.
Honorable Health Minister, please have the floor.
Honorable Speaker, yes, our government target of moving health expenditure towards 10.7% of the GDP. But let me clarify, such transformation is not an overnight event. It is a structural transformation. आज की स्थिति यह है कि भारत का पब्लिक हेल्थ एक्सपेंडिचर जहां 2014 में हमारी सरकार जब बनी थी तो मात्र 1.15% था और आज की डेट में हमारा माननीय मंत्री जी ने आंकड़ा अलग बताया है। उन्होंने
Please address to the chair.
2.24 से अधिक हो चुका है, जो कि लगभग तब से डबल इन्वेस्टमेंट हो चुका है। हमने स्टेप बाय स्टेप अप्रोच अपनाई है, जैसे कि आयुष्मान भारत स्कीम के तहत करोड़ों परिवार को फ्री ट्रीटमेंट दिया गया है। 1.5 लाख
Honorable Minister, please meet the Lord of the House.
1.5 लाख हेल्थ वेलनेस सेंटर्स स्थापित करने का काम चल रहा है। नेशनल टेलीलॉग सर्विस ई संजीवनी से अब तक 18 करोड़ से ज्यादा जनता को कंसल्टेशन दिया गया है।
Please conclude.
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हमारी सरकार का केवल एक ही नारा है, सरकारें आएंगी जाएंगी, पार्टियां बनेंगी बिगड़ेंगी, मगर ये देश रहना चाहिए। फाउंडेशन फॉर अचीव दैट हायर टारगेट। हमारी गति धीमी दिख सकती है, लेकिन हमारी दिशा बिल्कुल सही है।
Honorable Speaker, इन्होंने अपनी पॉलिसी यहाँ मिला दी। आप भारत में अपने मैनपुरी अपने शहर में देखिए, किसी की भी तबीयत बिगड़ती है सब आगरा दिल्ली भागते हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि मैनपुरी में सुविधाएं नहीं है। इनकी सरकार द्वारा सिर्फ इन्होंने अपनी स्कीम गिरा आयुष्मान भारत योजना। मैं आपको कुछ केसेस गिराता हूँ। पूरे उत्तर प्रदेश, भारत और बिहार में 49% बच्चे malnutrition का शिकार हैं। इन्होंने बहुत काम किया है, बहुत पॉलिसी बनाई है। ये रिजल्ट है उसका। 37% बच्चे, हर तीसरे में से एक बच्चा ओवरवेट का शिकार है और 3% ओबेसिटी रेट बढ़ता चला जा रहा है। ये है इनकी सरकार का काम।
Honorable Health Minister,
ऑनरेबल स्पीकर, जैसा कि मंत्री जी ने कहा कि हम
address to the chair.
जैसा कि हम अपनी कुछ कर ही नहीं रहे मैनपुरी में, क्या उनके परिवार का जब कोई सदस्य बीमार होता है तो क्या मैनपुरी के महाराजा तहसील जिला अस्पतालों को ले जाते हैं? जब अपने परिवार का कोई भी सदस्य बीमार होता है तो वो सीधे दिल्ली या आगरा भागते हैं। कभी वो मैनपुरी के अस्पतालों में गए, वो भी दिल्ली के एम्स तक में ले जाते हैं, प्राइवेट अस्पतालों में जाते हैं, जबकि एम्स दिल्ली में इतनी बढ़िया सुविधा है जितनी किसी प्राइवेट अस्पताल में नहीं हो सकती।
जैसा कि इन्होंने कहा हम नहीं जाते। देखिए बात क्या है, यहाँ जाने का औचित्य क्या है? यहाँ डॉक्टर घर पे बैठे हैं, कंपाउंडर पर्चियां काट रहे हैं, जो मरीज का लंबी लंबी कतारें लगी हुई हैं, क्योंकि शरीर में अगर शहर में 1000 लोगों को इसमें जितना एक डर्मेटोलॉजिस्ट है वो भी करते हैं, क्योंकि कंपाउंडर बैठे हुए हैं, कोई देखने नहीं आता, किसी भी प्रकार की सुविधा इक्विपमेंट अवेलेबल ही नहीं है मैनपुरी में।
Honorable Shadow Youth and Welfare Minister, please have the floor. Honorable member, Honorable member, please. Honorable Culture, Shadow Culture and Support Minister, please have the floor.
more on event management than on preserving policing temples, forts and archaeological sites. Moreover, while the rich heritage of northeastern states, tribal belts and several parts of South India being neglected, why is the government creating such divisions within the nation?
Honorable Culture and Sport Minister, please have the floor.
Respected Speaker, first of all, I think their calculus is broken because with the current budget, the ASI has been protected for monuments with a budget of 1270 crore, while the head for events and advocacy is barely 90 crore. India today safeguards 3,695 centrally protected monuments, and we have adopted 2000 national policy of conservation under AMSR scheme. Yes, encroachment exists, but it's not just illegal, it's cultural theft. However, as per the old CAG report of 92 missing centrally protected monuments which was under their government, 42 have been already restored, traced, they were either submerged or lost to urbanization. To honor our tribal community, the Janjatiya Gaurav Divas is celebrated nationwide. Under the Prashad scheme from Kamakya to Kanchipuram to Ramappa, our government is taking initiative to preserve the culture and golden heritage of India.
Honorable Minister, please conclude.
If celebrating Kamakya, restoring Ramappa and building tribal freedom fighter museum division, then we are proudly dividing Nagaland into history.
Please conclude, we are running out of time.
And to add, under the 2013 CAG report, 92 missing monuments were reported. What did they do about it? Where our government restored 42% of them and they are being preserved today.
Honorable Member.
Honorable Speaker, the minister's words sound impressive, but the reality on the ground tells a different story. The government claims to be preserving monuments, but the CAG itself confirms widespread neglect and encroachment. Flashy events may grab headlines, but they don't stop temples, forts and tribal heritage from collapsing. Isn't this government more interested in optics than in genuine conservation? Minister talks about schemes, but monuments are still falling. Schemes don't save crumbling stones. Fancy technology cannot replace real conservation on the ground. Events and live shows are visible. Conservation work is invisible. The government spends crores on image building, but not on nation building.
Honorable Member, please conclude.
If in reality something is being done, if funds are being increased, why does the ASI still report a shortage of staff and resources? If monuments are
Please
completely
conclude, we
restored,
are running out of time.
I want to ask if monuments are truly being restored, why did CAG report that dozens of monuments literally disappeared from their records?
Honorable Minister, please answer in a minute.
The UP Bharat is being built in New Delhi is 15,900 meters square, collaborating with France. The global Kashi culture pathway under G20. The Kumbh Mela 2019 was declared a cultural heritage site under UNESCO. Ramappa is also declared the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Whereas in 2014 only Western Ghats was added as well. After 2014, 6 new UNESCO heritage sites were added.
Please conclude, please conclude.
The NEP 2020 itself promotes Indian culture through language and curricular activities. The Rakotsav, a fortnight-long school cultural festival encouraging dance, music and art. Fit India movement, the International Yoga Day and Telemanas itself promotes cultural events in school.
Honorable Minister, please conclude.
To add, under the CAG report of India in 2012, it was clearly stated that the scheme for financial assistance to cultural organizations under their government had failed. Funds were left unachieved and many approved cultural programs. What answer do they have for this?
No supplementary. Honorable Prime Minister, please have the floor.
I have a question for the leader of opposition. Opposition gave the slogan Garibi Hatao in 1971 and ruled the nation for almost 50 years. Yet India today is still home of the world's largest poor population. Tell us, after half a century of your rule, its poverty will not be removed? Then why you gave the slogan Garibi Hatao? It's a slogan or it is a policy or just a slogan to win the vote. इनकी पार्टी को बस दो काम करने आते हैं, पहला बड़ी बड़ी बातें करना और दूसरा इस देश को बचाना। और ये बहुत शर्मीली
Honorable MP, please come to the
No one is being done. And they have claimed गरीबी दर्जे को 21% घटा है, परंतु आप अपनी बातों में फंस रहे हैं क्योंकि बातें बनानी आती है आपको। आपने बोला 21% घटा है, 21% घटा है। आप एक तरफ कह रहे हैं, अपनी तरफ लोगों को मुफ्त राशन दे रहे हैं। Now answer the question.
डेफिनेटली यार लास्ट टाइम हमको शहरों में बोला कि उन्होंने ये दिया वो दिया जाने कितनी चीजें गिनवा दी। अब मैं गिनवाता हूं उन्होंने कितने स्कैम किए और उनका एस्टिमेटेड लॉस क्या था। 2G स्पेक्ट्रम स्कैम 2008 एस्टिमेटेड लॉस 1.7 लाख करोड़। कॉमनवेल्थ गेम स्कैम 2010 एस्टिमेटेड लॉस 70,000 करोड़। टोल एलोकेशन स्कैम 2012 एस्टिमेटेड लॉस 1.86 लाख करोड़। आदर्श हाउसिंग स्कैम, बोफोर्स स्कैम, नेशनल हेराल्ड स्कैम, टेली स्कैम, चोपर स्कैम, आईटी स्कैम एंड ओल्डर स्कैम। Despite ruling, what they did, why was corruption rampant during their tenure? Why the scam was lakhs of crores? Public money happens repeatedly under their watch, and let me count and what us give to the nation.
Honorable Prime Minister, please conclude.
Okay. Jan Dhan Yojana, nearly 30 crore people benefited. Ayushman Bharat Yojana, हर घर जल योजना, गरीबी कल्याण अन्न योजना, प्रधानमंत्री मुद्रा योजना, स्किल इंडिया मिशन, इंडिया स्टैंड अप the poverty dramatically falls from 27% to 5.3%. I am not saying this, it is the data of World Bank. Thank you very much.
Honorable Education Minister, please have the floor.
Honorable Speaker, I would like to ask this question.
Please address to the chair.
Honorable Shared Education Minister, when the people of Assam finally got the gift of an IIM, a historic step for the higher education in Northeast, the opposition chose not to celebrate but to disrupt. Today, you're scrambling to clarify that you never opposed it. If that is true, then why did the leaders create confusion and delay in the parliament instead of standing united for the youth of the Assam? Was politics more important to you than progress?
Honorable Member, please have the floor.
Honorable Speaker and respected members of the House, let me clear the question. The opposition did not oppose the establishment of IIM in Guwahati on the principle. Their protest was directed against the way in which the bill was introduced and passed. At that time, the opposition parties were already agitating over the issue irregularities in the revision of electoral votes in Bihar. They demanded that the House must discuss that matter. When the demand was not accepted, they staged a walkout. As a result, the IIM bill was taken up and passed by a voice vote without a detailed debate. Later, opposition leaders clarified that they had no objection to setting up an IIM in Assam, but they were protesting against the suppression of discussion and lack of procedural transparency. However, the ruling party portrayed this walkout
Please conclude.
as opposition to IIM itself, leading to political controversy.
Honorable Education Minister.
Honorable Speaker, if that is the case, then why did they not put forward their constructive debate instead and decided to walk out, leading to delays and adjournment in the parliament? माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, सदन में रहते हुए भी ये न जानना कि वॉकआउट क्या है, उनका कारण ये आवश्यक है कि अपने निकाल का आवश्यक है कि वॉकआउट एक पार्लियामेंट्री प्रोसीजर है। सदन की मेजॉरिटी की वजह से एक व्यक्ति की बात नहीं सुनी जाती तो उसने वॉकआउट से अपनी बात को रखने का एक साधन है।
Any supplementary? No supplementary. Honorable Health Minister, please have the floor. Honorable Shared, you that Health Minister.
Sir, India is the youngest nation, yet our youth suffer. We launched a suicide prevention strategy, NMHP, DMHP, and Telemenas helpline numbers. But in opposition states like Bengal, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, youth suicide rates are the highest and funds vanish in corruption. We act, they neglect. Where are the stadiums promised? Where are the funds going? On behalf of the India youth, we demand answers, not promises.
Honorable Shared, you that Welfare Minister, please have the floor.
Honorable Speaker, the ruling party says we launch strategies and helplines. But the reality is strategies don't save lives, implementation does. Yes, suicides are rising in Bengal, Telangana and Tamil Nadu. But let me remind this House,
don't go to corruption.
You accuse us of corruption, but government audits themselves reveal that only 5 to 10% of the mental health budget is actually spent. If money is vanishing, it is vanishing under your watch, not us.
Honorable Minister, any supplementary?
Speaker sir, I won't blab like them. Let me state facts. West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Telangana. These are the second, third and fourth highest suicide rates are marked in these areas. They say I am cherry picking them. Let me give facts. The center funds are got 3,443.43 crores for sports. And under the Khelo India scheme, it was 2,168 crores. And out of which, Karnataka, Rajasthan and Maharashtra received the third, fourth and fifth highest numbers.
Can you mention the sources of
That is the sports ministry numbers I'm speaking. So they say I'm cherry picking numbers. Where are those 5%, 4.9% and 4% funds that we have given for sports? We have no answer for them.
Honorable Speaker, जैसा कि इन्होंने कहा कि बंगाल, तेलंगाना, तमिलनाडु जैसे स्टेट में ये पॉपुलेशन बढ़ रही है, आई मीन अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट बढ़ रहा है और बाकी सब हो रहा है, तो मुझे इनसे ये पूछना है कि जो इंडिया जो फर्स्ट नंबर पे आ रहा है अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट में और यूथ का मेंटल हेल्थ में, उसके लिए क्या जवाब देंगे?
Honorable Minister.
Sir, question divert करना तो इनसे सीखे. But my question was about suicide rate alarming in West Bengal, Telangana and Tamil Nadu, and they answered about the unemployment. Let me give facts. The Nehru Yuva Sevak Sangh that upholds the responsibility of 3 lakh youth clubs. 3 lakh, mind the number. That is the world's biggest youth chain in the country. And they say we are not doing anything. Thank you.
Honorable Culture and Support Minister, please have the floor.
Honorable Speaker, I would like to question the opposition that despite ruling for over 50 years, why did they neither rebuild Nalanda nor give India cultural identity? While our government revived Nalanda, preserved monuments and made yoga a UN recognized celebration. Why were hundreds of heritage sites left to decay in their rule while our government today showcased Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav and G20? If culture was their priority, why is every milestone of cultural pride happening now and never then?
Honorable Minister.
Honorable Speaker and members in the House, the question itself is misleading. To say that nothing has been done in 6 decades is an insult to the foundation of modern India's cultural preservation. It was during the earlier governments that institutions like Archaeological Survey of India, the Indian National Trust and Art and Culture Heritage, the Sangeet Natak Academy, the National School of Drama were strengthened, pillars that safeguard our cultural identity even today. History cannot be rewritten overnight. It was our government that first initiated the Nalanda University Revival Project in 2006 in collaboration with the international partners. Facts must not be distorted. Yoga Day at the UN was passed in 2014, but the groundwork was laid much earlier through India's cultural diplomacy. And as far as monuments are concerned, even today the CAG reports that more monuments have been lost under their government watch than ever before. Honorable Speaker, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav and G20 were tied to specific dates. The 75th year of independence and India's G20 presidency. These events would have happened under any government. To claim them as the proof of unique culture and cultural vision is misleading under our era.
Please conclude.
Culture is not built in 5 years or 10. It is a continuous legacy. What a project today is standing on the groundwork led yesterday. Instead of
Please conclude. We are running out of time.
Therefore, while the ruling benches are busy claiming credit for repackaging old initiatives, the truth is that India's cultural identity was nurtured, expanded and globalized under successive governments including ours. Thank you.
Any supplementary, Minister?
Opposition history की बात करते हैं तो according to the UN, poor management was reported under their government in 2014, institutional lack of dysfunction and form, museum neglect, and a 2005 CAG reports non-verification of artifacts. ये कहते हैं कि G20 तो किसी की भी गवर्नमेंट हो सकता था, तो उनकी गवर्नमेंट क्यों नहीं, अगर कल्चर में उनकी प्रायोरिटी थी तो
members, we shall now proceed to the 0 hour. Today, the topic of discussion during the 0 hour is deepfakes and artificial intelligence, which is a working issue now. Now, I request Honorable LOP to have the floor.
Honorable Speaker, respected members of the House and audience, today a matter of discussion is deepfakes and AI. So first I would like to give a small intro about it. Deepfakes are synthetic media, video, audio images generated by AI models that mimic a real person's face or voice to convincingly that images appear real when they have never happened. So as we all know, AI is a new technology and everyone knows about its positive and negative aspects. Surely AI is a new relevant technology and there are numerous positive aspects, but today we arrive here to discuss about the negative aspect and how AI is defaming the people. So firstly, I would like to raise a question regarding the deepfake and AI to the opposition. That is, if a deepfake of army chief or PM passed during a water crisis in a neighboring country, what will be the government's response and conclusion? How are they going to manage the situation?
Respected Father Bodies, Sister Mercy, respected teachers and my dear students, we had a taste of what is happening in our parliament today, and at times we felt that it's a kind of imitation of our own parliament. But for the first time it was conducted here, the first initiation. I would like to appreciate our captain who brought this idea, and Ms. Gonia Madam, our librarian, along with the teachers who initiated and made it maybe fulfilled his dream, and all those who have participated, they are vehemently took part in the discussion and they have prepared well and they have presented the matter. But then, you also must have noticed some at times the temper goes up and then ideas go out of their way. So it's also kind of learning that we also put our ideas in a manner that which goes to the people and to the maybe to the speakers around us. I'm sure that they have understood what is the meaning of conducting this program here. The sole aim is the betterment of society and betterment of society, the society and the people. In the parliament also, there are treasury benches as well as opposition. Both of them, they argue, sometimes they slide mud on each other, oppose each other, but at the end, the sole aim is to bring out policies which are useful for the society, which are going to help in the development of each and every citizen. So here also, maybe next time we will bring in maybe subjects which are going to be relevant to each one of us, and we have a meaningful discussion where we can improve our own life here in the school as well as in the society. Your topic also was good and you have prepared very well. I would like to congratulate you, and speakers are also very well conducted at the assembly session, not assembly, parliament session. I would like to congratulate you all and your speakers also. Thank you for being here. Sometimes you are not connected with what they were speaking, but then you had, I suppose we had a very good, cheerful audience also. So thank you for your patient hearing and being part of it. Once again, congratulations.